Now we're going into power prayer. And don't worry, no shouting. I was taught this by none other than the Creator Himself. He told me how to do this. He told me exactly what to do. And I did exactly what he said, and I find it's really powerful. I taught this to a Hopi Wakayan, holy man, spiritual leader. And I taught this to him just about, 4 months ago. With this knowledge alone, he's making quite a name for himself in the Hopi world. And medicine people, elders, and this is a young guy, he's only about 27. And all these people, the higher people within Hopi land, are coming to learn. So this is a rather interesting thing. The Creator told me that the people are not ready for the upcoming times. That was not the Indian people, that was all people. And I did this when he was showing me a vision. I had gone on a 69-day fast. Don't worry, I was using my vitamins, and if I was getting really, really low, I would take orange juice. But it was a liquid fast. And I did go 69 days, and over a 3-day period of that 69 days, 3 concurrent days, I was giving what I was called a great vision. Many of the things that happened in that vision have since happened. I'll neither share here nor there on what happened, because it's always easy to say, yeah, I saw that, and something that has passed. So I'm pretty satisfied that everything else that I saw is going to happen. And when I asked the Creator, I said, why are you showing me this? Audibly, he said, audibly now understand. And I was laying on the floor when it happened, and I was glad I was there, because it probably knocked me to the floor. And his words are so strong, so powerful. And he said the people are not ready for the upcoming times. And then he said this. Now this is going to sound strange from a medicine man, but I'm good medicine people are Christians. They'll never say the word. I am not ashamed of saying it. Neither are they, due to the connotation of all this bickering between these denominations. They don't want to be associated with them, and I can understand. But not only do we all read the Bible, but the word Christian means Christ follower. It does not mean what is in the church today. Talkers, not so much doers. And it's pretty hard for me to say this, because my own upbringing in the inner Hyoka tell me not to show and tell. And yet people want me to show and tell to prove that what I'm saying is true. And I tell them, no, I can't. It makes me sound bad. It makes me sound like a liar. But I give you the knowledge so that you can, because you're not in a Hyoka. I've got to abide by my own learnings. This is not necessarily meant for the so-called Christians. This is meant for everybody, and I don't care your race, religion, thoughts, anti-schism, and anti-God and no God or whatever. I don't care. This is for everybody, but the Christians are the ones that will get it the most, at least in the time being. But he said, you're not ready for the people are not ready for the upcoming times. And he said, to be prepared, they must do, you, is what he said, must do these 3 things. And by the you, he was not inferring me alone, he was speaking of all. You must get on your knees daily. You must read the Word of God daily. You must believe what you read in that Word daily. And then he proceeded to show me what this all did. And the most interesting aspect was the fact that the knee position. He showed me standing there in vision, standing and saying praise, as I've often done and still do. But as I got serious about my praying and praising and wailing, or whatever you want, I would begin to walk around. He was showing me this, and yet it was from a true past. I do that. I get kind of bored there. I just can't stand still. And then walking around, he showed me thinking about what is around me that with my eyes shut I'm going to bump into or trip on or step on. And he showed me by so doing I was not putting all into the prayer time, that I had a piece of me off on La La Land called Earth Reality, and was not giving all to him. I was giving a bit of it to the attention of hurting myself. So that was the negativity of standing and praying. Then, for laying down and praying, he showed me again, and I've done this often, so he showed me again laying there and being serious in my prayer time and falling dead asleep doing so. So that was a negative in laying down. Then he showed me on my knees. And yes, he did show me I've fallen asleep once or twice on my knees. I was that exhausted. But believe me, I wouldn't have got anywhere near as close to my prayer time on my knees at times if I would have used it, when I instead laid on my back and almost instantly fell asleep. So I had a lot more time going on knees. But out of all the knee time, I've only fallen asleep once or twice, ever, over many, many years. And he told me by being on my knees, I was not concerned about hitting anything. By being on my knees, I was not, all greatly concerned of falling asleep. And my prayer times would be, improved, more complete, more mind truth, more mind sending, more mind attention to him. He also then told me, as he was showing me this, that for whatever reason, I don't understand it, I can't pretend to understand everything. He showed me by being on my knees, it was more than what the Christians talk about of being a humble position. And he showed me that this was true. And he told me that this is true. It is a humbling position before the Creator. But he also showed me that in so doing, I became like a sending, receiving station. Like even though it's standing, my feet were on the ground. But for some reason, my knees and toes and everything, touching what was below me, whether it was ground or a rug or whatever, I was getting more spread, in a sense, picking up more juice from the inner earth. I was picking up more vibrations, more of its love sending. And with myself in that position, and not being able to fall asleep so easily and not worried about crashing into anything, I was putting a whole lot more into the prayer time. And then he showed me as I raised my hands to the Creator, and Indians do this, don't think we don't, that I was in turn receiving from him and receiving from the heavens and all the planets and all the vibrations and all the love and all the goodness that surrounds us up there. So I'm receiving, and the receiving is from below upwards into me and above downwards into me. And I became somewhat of a conductor that could then, much easier, hear, now understand, hear the Creator when he spoke. And he could hear me clear. It was a clear telephone line between us. So, read the Word of God daily. He said that was necessary because of the upcoming times are so horrible, and I can vouch for that. What I've been shown, I don't want to see again. And I begged him the first time, and it went on and did it 2 more times to me over a couple of years. And it just breaks me down. I just bawl like a baby for a long time. It's so sad, so pitiful, so horrifying. So we're not ready for that upcoming time. So you're going to have to feed your spirit now on a daily basis, believing what is written there. This does not mean believing what you're told by somebody in the pulpit, or your mom or dad, or your grandmother and grandfather, or your great aunt, the church-going public, or whatever. No. It's between you and the Creator. Read it and believe it daily. And again, through power reading, you'll be able to know that you are actually in complete communication with the Creator in this knee position. Not that you aren't in the other two, but you are not as strong a radio station. You're kind of off frequency. You do these three things, on a daily basis. He didn't say read it all or read a book a day or whatnot. He just said read it. And there's been times where I picked a book up and only seen perhaps 3-6 words because I'm so exhausted. And that's good enough for me, boy. I shut the book and I crawled down to bed. I've been obedient. And he didn't tell me how much to read. And it might not have made him happy. I don't know, but I got it in. And I got my beauty rest. And maybe I didn't put enough in because I sure am not beautiful. But so by believing what you read, that is ignoring what you've been told and just making it between you and the Creator. And do that on a daily basis, all three of those things. Now, there are people who are incapable of reading. They're blind or whatnot. There are people that can't get on their knees, rheumatism, amputees, or whatnot. He's well aware of it. Don't worry about it. Just do the best you can with what you got. And he's more than satisfied. Again, believing is a pretty hard thing to do. Some of that stuff's pretty rough to believe. And a lot of people think that the Creator is a hard taskmaster, not one of total love. They've got the wrong view of it. You'll learn that as you read in Power Reading. That I guarantee he's not a hard taskmaster, but he is a loving Father that if you're not going to do what he tells you to do, he's going to whomp you on the rear. And that's a loving Father. He loves you that much that he's trying to keep your attention and keep it right. Certainly not cruel in any way, shape, or form. I know what I'm talking about, and I want you to know the same truth. Now, somebody comes to you and needs prayer, or you yourself have got a need, and you want to talk to Dad about it. And what they do, they come to you and say, hey, Joe or Mary or whatever, really, I hurt pretty bad. That my knee is really aching real bad, and could you pray for it or whatnot? And if you're a standard run-of-the-mill, good-hearted Christian person, yes, I'll pray. And then you run off and pray. And then at times, these people with that problem, they'll read the word where, go down in front of an elder and the pastor and get anointed with oil. And they do, and they limp back like they limp down. Occasionally cured, but generally never, or very little. And what do you hear as they leave? Well, you don't have enough faith. That's why it didn't take effect. And you hear, it must be God's will. And blame everybody but themselves is what's going on. Everybody but themselves. It says the prayers of one, righteous, that means right standing in the sight of God. The prayers of a righteous man, woman, child, will heal you. So, I've jumped on some people's rear end over the years because I've seen this happen too many times. And afterwards, I've grabbed the ears of some of these people and I said, I want to talk to you. I look at the preacher and say, if I were you, I would be very ashamed. And naturally they ask why. And I show them that verse, and well, we did what we could. Then, my friend, there was no one in your group who was and is in right standing in the sight of God. Because it says there, if one was, let alone all, that the healing would take place. I said, when that happens, you should just excuse yourself, take your group with you, leave the person that has come for healing, go in a back room, and get everything right, and then come back and watch that person walk away healed. Don't blame anybody but yourself. The thing is, Christ says, I don't do anything without Dad telling me to do it. I don't say anything unless Dad tells me to say it. What Christ is saying is, I ask, I wait, I listen, and then I act. And I have yet to meet any, I have not taught myself personally, any that go to God when somebody runs up to them with a prayer request. I have seen none go to God and ask Him, God, should I pray? And if so, how should I pray? Tell me what to do, and if I'm to pray, tell me what to say. Christ said, follow me. The greatest medicine man that all creation has ever known said, follow me. That doesn't mean up into the heavens. It means right into the now. Do as He has done in the past, and He's still there to help you. Follow Him. Do. Just do as well as talk. And one of the great things that He did was say, Dad would tell me to do it, and I would do it. But I would ask, and then I would wait, and I would listen. And Christian people, brothers and sisters, and non-Christian people, start doing what you're told. When someone comes to you for prayer, excuse yourself and go somewhere and talk to Pop and find out if you're the one to pray. I do, and this is part of Power Prayer, on your knees. First, spend time giving glory and praise to Dad, loving Him. Second, ask Him, while you're on your knees, ask Him what, if anything, that has been done in your life that is keeping you from a so-called face-to-face talk. And then shut up and listen. Shut up and see. He will reveal things to you that you have not had cleansed by His Son's blood. Each time that comes, cleanse it and ask again, show me more if there's more. And cleanse that, and on and on and on, until finally nothing comes to mind. Now you are clean in His sight. Now you, thanks to the washing, thanks to the toweling down, you're a sparkling, clean-looking kid. He's satisfied. He cannot look on sin, i.e. disobedience to God. He cannot look on disobedience to God. He can't look at it, but it doesn't mean He doesn't hear you. He can turn His back and still hear your pleas, but He's not going to turn around and look at you. So get yourself cleansed on your knees, ask the Creator to show you what would keep you from a face-to-face, and then get each little incident cleansed away. It might have been a dirty look at somebody. It might have been just ignoring somebody. I'm not talking about raping. I'm not talking about murder or torture. It could be that. But you'd be surprised. They are all the same to the Creator. And therefore you are a filthy, dirty kid. And is it love to ignore a child's pleading or a child's question? Is it God love? No, it is not. So you screwed up there, folks. Get it squared away. Is it love to give somebody an angry, dirty look or a superior look? Is that love? No, that's self. Get it squared away, folks, because that is not God through you. That is not love through you. That is you through you. And He's not happy with that. Not when you're working for Him, He's not. So get these things squared away, and eventually the time will come in this prayer time when nothing shows up. He says, okay, bring him in. And He turns around and smells you, and you smell soapy and clean, and your hair is all washed. And you and Daddy can sit down together in a sense. Daddy, not just God, but Daddy. Daddy God. And you can say, Pop, thanks a lot for the cleansing. I'm sorry I gotten dirty. Now I come to you for Joe Blow or Mary They ask if I could pray for them on this. Of course I know I can, but I want to know what your will is. I want to pray according to your will, not generalization and not my own will. Would you please reveal to me what would you have me do? And then clear your mind and prepare to listen. Listening consists not so much of words, those are rare, but they do happen, as it is thoughts and pictures. Mental pictures, mental TV, and mental thoughts. But believe me, there's at times that he can audibly talk as well as talk mind to mind, just as clear as I'm speaking. Anyway, you ask him, then shut up and listen, and then do exactly what he tells you to do. Sometimes he tells me, yes, Red Elk, I do want you to pray. And then I say, okay, sir, what would you have me do? How do I go about this? And he explains. And sometimes he shuts up, but he's already told me yes. Now what do I do? Well, it's simple. Stand up, get out of there when I'm done, and start doing what I was told to do. I might not have any more than knowing, yes, I'm to pray for this person. So I head for the person, not knowing what I'm to say, what I'm to do. But I've started doing what I was told to do. The word was yes, I'm to pray. So I head there to that person to pray. And on the way, or in the very moments, as I'm praying for this person, by that I mean introducing my spiritual self to the living Creator by perhaps laying hands on the person, that's when the knowledge comes. And I do accordingly. And you never do one ant step more or one ant step less, nor add or take away from a thing that he has ordered you to do. That's self stepping in and throwing a little bit of credit on yourself. Don't add it to the prayer time. Do exactly what you're told and then get the heck out of there giving thanks to the Creator as you do so. Because it's going to work. Because he told you how to do it and you followed exactly what he said. It's going to work. There's times he tells me, no, I do not want you to pray for this person. And the idea and the knowledge of why comes. It's because that person has something to learn in that sickness or whatever. So it's not time for that person to be prayed for. That person has not learned. Sounds cruel, but God knows what he's doing. He's daddy. And then there's times he's saying, yes, but not now. So it'll be down the road. And then there will be times that he says, well, yes and no. I do want you to pray. But Carolyn Jones down the road, she prays and talks to me all the time, and she never sees me at work. And she needs to know that I answer prayers, and her prayers too. So I want you to get a hold of her and have her pray for Joe Blow here, and you back her up in prayer. Don't back up. Don't you do the prayer for Joe Blow. You back her up. Joe Blow will be healed, and she will walk away in glory and just head high, floating, and you will be a good little boy or girl and shut up and take no credit at all. You've done what I wanted, and that is the way I want it, and you'll know then it pleases me. Asking, waiting, receiving, give him praise for the answers, whatever they are, give him praise. There is power prayer. Thank you. Oh.